Hello everyone and welcome back to our continuing adventures on the Let's Defend platform. Today we are taking a whack at the free, medium difficulty, incident responder path challenge, Velociraptor. Your organization recently discovered a potential security incident involving a critical web server. The SOC detected unusual traffic patterns and suspicious activity targeting the server. Initial investigations suggest that the breach may have been caused by a well-known exploit that has not yet been patched. Due to the critical nature of the web server and the sensitivity of the data it handles, immediate action is required to confirm the breach, contain the threat, and mitigate further risks. You are provided with network traffic and EDR logs to identify how the attacker gained access and what actions they took. So for those who may not know, Velociraptor is, you can use it as a offline, like triage, event data, log collector, which is what I would assume they ended up using this for. You are given a Linux VM and everything is dumped there because this is just going to end up being a straight log analysis, everything else like that. I have just decided to say nuts to that and copied everything over to my system. And so from that, this is what we get. Granted, it's kind of doubled up. So notice that there's EDR logs, EDR logs. So that's one thing to be mindful of, because this should be for a single system. And we're given hunt info, JSON, we're given results, everything else along those lines. So that's effectively where I'm going to be pulling from everything, since everything's copied over. So the biggest aspect in which we're going to start with is what's the client ID associated with the EDR logs. And I think most of all that stuff is going to end up being in that hunt_info.json. So let us go ahead and fire up our logs and bingo bango. So from this whole aspect, we're looking for client ID. That should be something dot something else. Web server hunt 2, we get a flow ID, which that is something they are asking for. So let's, do we get a client ID in anywhere for this? I'm pretty sure it's going to be hunt ID. I'm guessing. I suppose I should probably be a little bit more clear with that. I am guessing it's going to be the hunt ID. No? Okay. Now I am intrigued. So client ID is not found in this at all. So I guess let's go with what we can answer immediately. Since one of them is flow, and we can find that in the huntinfo.json. Great. Yeah, let's hold off, because we got plenty of other stuff to take through. Okay, web server was running on a container. What is the parent process ID of the container? Okay, so we're going to have to look at all of this good stuff. And go on from there. So give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can't find the PCAP files that we should have and make sure that those are opened up inside a Wireshark or Network Miner just for preparation. So 1 second. Okay, so client ID looks like it's inside the EDR-logs. And then in the IP-172.31.29.22, C and other information folder, letters and numbers. There is a client info or client underscore info.json. And seeing there, we get the other aspect that we're expecting, something dot something else. So let's see as to whether or not. Yep, there we go. And then the network traffic, the PCAP. Inside that same folder that we find the client underscore info.json, there is a uploads folder, auto, TMP, and then you get capture traffic.pcap. So I've got that loaded up that we can go through and take a look when it comes time to start looking for questions there. So we are looking for information on said web server. So it's probably something like in Docker. That would seem to be the case. So inside of the IP-172-31-29-22-C dot letters and numbers, it looks like there is, I suppose I should probably just show as opposed to just tell. So it looks like we get that they ran a bunch of stuff, so we can actually take a look at the system. So it looks like there's CSV, and it looks like there's a JSON. So we're going to go ahead and open that Notepad++, the JSON, and yeah, that's what she looks like, all right. So then we are looking for Docker. At least that's going to be my guess. Okay, worker. Hey, look, there's Velociraptor. Docker proxy. Container D. And it wants what? It wants, what is the parent process ID of the container? And it looks like it should be 3 characters. All right, let's take a look. So we got Docker D. It's running sock. Let's look over. User root. Yeah, I suppose running this would actually work better on a Linux machine because then you could just run grep recursively through and be like, okay, find me the instances. So show me all the stuff for Docker. Let's go all the way up to the top. Docker D. PID is 5123. PPID is 1. Now we get proxy. PPID is 5123. Looks like for 2 of them. Docker proxy. Alright, so that's actually proxying stuff that's actually running there. So I have to imagine port 8111. PPID is 1. It seems like we're just going to keep rotating between those items there. Yeah. But yet that looks like, no, it does show 4. I thought it was showing 3. Man. So what was it? 5123? Assuming I'm not way off. No? Okay. We're in the right track. What was the Docker version that was running on the web server? Okay, there's inside that same results folder where we found this. There is more linux.applications.docker.info.json and linux.applications.docker.version.json. So we're going to open up both of those there. What do we get? Honestly, it looked like it was kind of the same. No, okay, never mind. And it just what gives us the idea of what's actually running for the info. Kernel version, operating system. Oh, we may need this later on, maybe. Server version 26.1.2. But that's exactly what they're looking for, which would be confirmed by here, version 26.1.2. Okay, now we go to what's the IP address of the attacker? Well, they also have a Linux.nets network, .netstat.json. So I don't suppose we'd actually be lucky enough to get that. Hey, this IP address was connected to this. That's what Velociraptor client. So yeah, I'm assuming that's dumping data over port 8000. And that's not going to be the attacker. Yeah, not likely, because it's not tied to the Docker processes. Maybe this is the aspect where we need the network. Logs. That thing was running what? Where's the proxies? Yeah, so they're doing So we're looking for activity that would be centered around port 8,111 by the looks of it. Dang, iced coffee's gone. Whatever shall I do? Alright. So we're looking for something that would fit 2.3.1.3. And so let's take a look. Where's my window? So netminer released version 3 not that long ago. So I updated all the stuff there. Where's my Wireshark? Oh man, I gotta play with those window sizes. Okay, so here's Network Miner. We're underneath the sessions. And effectively, we're just gonna look for something that looks like it would match. There's a lot for 95, 164, 9, 141, which looks like that would fit. And a lot of it focusing on port 8,111. Yeah, it looks like that was a concentrated blast. So what info did we end up managing to capture from 95, 164? Linux. Satori TCP. But it did do 22 sessions. Okay, well, I guess let's see as to whether or not if I'm just super far off, or if we've actually found what we're realistically looking for here. So 95, 164, 9, 144. So out of concern, let's take the IP and let's just do a couple of intel sweeps with a few things. So we'll whack it against VT and see if anything shakes out. We'll dump it into Cisco Talos, and we'll dump it into OTX, which was Alien Vault, which is now Level Blue Labs. So let me get these things out of the way. Virus total? Yes, no? Bad? Good? Burn it? Excuse me. AT? Oh, I am not the best in terms of... Oh, Austria. Gibraltar? Nothing for that. Okay, fine. How about Talos? You got anything for me? Questionable web rep. Wow. That is not a lot of information. Shadow Socks outline VMS Open VPN. Oh, is it a portal? Something used for VPN? Which very well could be. Okay, but that kind of supports the fact that, okay, we got malicious activity coming from it. To determine if there are any exploits targeting the server, identify the build version of the web server service. What is the build version? Oh, the actual dog yipping in its sleep is actually being picked up, at least according to the soundbar. I'm like, wait, what? Okay. Let's go back then. I'm taking a look at all that. So we need information on what is there. So we did run, or did have open the PS list, but we would need because the only thing we got from Docker was what? Operating systems Ubuntu 24.04? We didn't get anything else that came out of it, did we? Not from the docker.info. And then I don't think there was anything. Kernel version, build time for Docker version JSON. So if we go back to EDR logs and then results, we have. Wait, how many times is this duplicated? Is results the same one that's inside of here? Wow, this could actually be a very dirty collection then. Linux sys services. Let's just open the JSON with Notepad++. I don't suppose that we actually get a version number, anything else like that. Yeah, no. No, those are different. Client ID, everything else. Okay, nothing that's there. So what about the hunt info? Is there? So all this stuff went through. Oh, this is made by what is it? All 4M? Alley 4M? I don't know. But this stuff ended up running through. We get to see the actual results. I realize, yeah, you guys can't see. I'm looking through the hunt info. Basically just trying to find any sort of additional info that might shake out. But I would guess that all that would just end up being in the results. Yeah. And then client info, I don't suppose you're going to be able to sit there and tell me. Flow ID, base URL. we did see stuff to GitHub, I believe, that was mentioned. Traffic in the PCAP. Okay, all Linux Debian packages. That would give us installed size, architecture, but not, well, no, version. Okay. Isn't it usually like HTTPD? No, HTOP, HW data. Whiptail. Yeah, I don't know what the heck they're running. Unless they're just doing like just a quick and dirty, like the Python HTTPD. Or well, let's take a look. Give me a hint. Filter for the build in the PCAP. Oh, so we can't find it by actually digging through any of the other stuff. Okay. Whatever. So then we're gonna look for build. Oh, okay. So let me get Notepad out of the way. We'll bring up Wireshark, which needs to be grossly trimmed down because it's taking up everything. It's a little huge at the moment. Screw it. It makes it, I guess, a little bit easier. Okay. So we're in, I've put in, what I do? IP.ADDR equals or space equals space the 95.164.9.144 because that's the attacker traffic, and right now I'm following the stream, which you guys can't see because I need to switch from the capture traffic.pcap over to the follow stream. Okay, so as we're looking through here, so hacks, app rest server, and then we get the reply, which I'm assuming he's going to give you from our actual host, not the attacker. XML encoding, standalone server version 2023 11.3, build 147512. which is correct. So that before we go too far, let me blow that stuff out of the way and show that yes, the build that we're pulling from there. So attacker took advantage of a known exploit. Oh, so we're gonna have to take a look and try to figure out. So inside there, I noticed the hacks question mark JSP equals /app/rest. So I think that's still for the particular portion and what I've got highlighted. So I'm just wondering, okay, if we go and paste that in. That's not what I want. I want you to Google search. Can you find me? JetBrains Team City, CVE 2024 21. Seems to be what the immediate response is just by doing a search for that particular aspect. We know it's Team City because that was part of the response from the server to the attacker. Yeah, right here. Does that not show? Yeah, right there. That's exactly what they did. And do they have a list of like what's full? How to find it if you've got access to all the individual logs that you can grab from there. It's like, what versions though? Alright, well, let's pull them up then. We'll just take a look at both of them. Inside of NIST, they might tell us. Date added. Yeah, great. How about known versions? Known affected. Up to 2023 11.4, which the server is 2023.11.3, so just. I'm assuming if we do the same thing for the other that's posted there, yes. Okay, so we gotta figure out which one's which. Path traversal. It's probably 2024 27198. All we had to do was just search for what they tried to access, and we got fairly good results with Google. Excuse me. Okay, now we need to take the CVE number and plaster that in. Okay, we get confirmation that it was CVE-2024-27-19.8. So, what is the first username and password created? Okay, which means then we need to go back and we need to find the first TCP stream. And so what I've done inside of Wireshark is I went back to the IP.addr space equals um, 95.164.9.144. And I just took the very top packet frame and did right click, follow TCP stream, which then gives us this, assuming I can find it in the list. No, I cannot. Oh, there we go. Give me 1 second. We're gonna make that bigger. It's gonna run off the screen, but what do we care? Okay. So this is starting at the very beginning of the communication, which I guess was packet. Make sure, yeah. Number 6,532, according to everything that was captured. And again, that is just by doing the filter. So we end up with this. We see they do the same exact thing, REST, API REST server, and then they do the app REST users, and then we get, looks like they're adding in username 41M67110. Gonna have to massage that in, assuming that I'm even remotely stinking close. So let's see. So I'm taking from there. We'll transition this back. We'll do submit. No. Username, password. I mean, you would think that would be the very first. Okay. Look for suspicious post request in logs. You mean like most of everything that's there? Hmm. Well, then it's probably going to be a little bit more important to go back and. Okay, so it looks like. What? packet number 4814. According to that, I realize, yeah, that's just entirely overtaken every little thing. So let's smooth that up. Okay, so it's not nearly as bad then. So we do have a bunch, but it starts around that particular portion, and we start getting additional information in there. But that would obviously be before 6,532 or whatever it was that was pulling in there. So we see them, they do. Just gonna move this out of here. So if we assume that's the first correct one that I can see, where they're doing the app rest users, we end up with a username of AHUP1RUI. And if we break down the password, we get P capital X G D capital G capital J A C capital O capital Z, or is it 0? Nope, we were right. O. Oh. Attacker used newly created user to upload a web shell. What endpoint was used to upload the web shell? Okay, so they're using a form to sit there and kick this stuff off, so what do they want? Something dot 4 characters? 5 Zeta 6 Papa 8 K CA dot JS. No, it can't be it. Can't be it because they're looking for 4, not 3. Even though it looks like that's what they're doing to sit there and send off. Yeah, so they're doing shell. Okay, what is going on here? Why are these in so messed up an order? I must have hit something. And it moved it. That's why all this was just screwed up. Favorite project. Okay, so we need to find the aspect where they kick off the rest projects. Users. Trying to find where they actually recreate that server. Authentication test. Server. Federation projects. Projects. Just want to find our user creations because it should be after that. course, I did not note where that was. Projects. Oh, come on. Post. Alright, so there's our user. So they make that user. Subscriptions. So it's gotta be health. XML. Token. Okay, we have plugin upload dot HTML. Where they uploaded 5 zeta 6. Okay, so that was the particular portion, but what they actually, they want to know what they hit. So plugin upload.html. Yes. Let me get Wireshark out of the way. So just to confirm, the other aspect would have been the /admin/plugin upload. Then what is the full URL of the web server? So it's going to be after that. So let's bring Wireshark back into play. It's right there. I really wish I knew why it was just so zoomed up. Or wait, what's the full thing going to be? It's just plugin upload. Then they're listing the plugins. You should see some activity once they hit the web shell and start going to town. No, it's not going to be subscriptions. It should be Alright, here we go. Some more activity. But are you going to be looking for? No, it's still showing the plugins. Plugins, 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 descriptions, which we don't care about so much there. Yeah, hello, there it is. Full request URI. HTTP //1.8.159.50.167:plugins/5 Zulu 6 Papa 8 Kilo capital Charlie capital Alpha /5 Zulu 6 Papa 8 Kilo capital Charlie capital Alpha .jsp and pray that that's right. No. It's not really, even though that's what they're using to sit there and send off. Okay, cut that. HTTP 2.3.2.3:81 /plugins/ did I type it wrong? HTTP plugins 5C6P 8KCA. No, that looks like it's it. You are very close to the right answer. Did I just... Oh my god. No, it's right. I just have to type it right. I put http://18.158, not 159. I just caught that and adjusted it. So, okay, we're there. What do we have left? 2 last questions. The attacker created another user named... Okay, so that's the one we found, I think. 41M67LLO. And uploaded another web shell. What was the name of the zip? I suppose it would probably be too easy, maybe, to just... Yeah. So we're not going to really be able to use Network Miner to pull that out, it looks like. Well, that's fine. I mean, we're in the general neighborhood of the activity that we're looking at. And so I would expect that this would occur after all of this. Not before, because otherwise why would you upload another web shell? So I am just looking around to see what else I could potentially find after that point. I mean, another aspect, you would think that they're going to upload from that same portion. Yeah. Okay, and it looks like that's still going to be the case. Let me transition this over. So Wireshark's there. And this is what now? We had to go all the way down to 6,660. And we see another post to admin plugin upload. And then we get a V, capital Victor 5, capital Hotel, Whiskey, capital Joker. I don't remember what the G is for the phonetic. Green. Capital Sigma 3. That's all they want, just the name of the zip. That's all they want is the name of the zip. So capital V, Victor. 5, capital H as in hotel. W as in whiskey. Capital J as in Joker. G as in green. Capital S as in Sigma. 3. Dot zip. And take this back. And we see that that is now in there. So we're on our way. Last one. The attacker created a file on the system containing some text. I don't suppose, like, the bash would collect? So I'm assuming they did it on the server itself. I was hoping that maybe there would be like a bash history or something else along those lines that would have been captured, but it does not look like that's going to be the case. So something tells me that we're just going to continue to look through. If they're going to do it, then they're going to probably do it through the web shell. Unless they got it to kick off. So we just need to see did they end up using it after that thing would have been uploaded. And then would the data have been captured? It looks like they get the everything through, like they refresh, they go to the plugins again. Yeah, let me bring up Wireshark and transition it over. Set true. We get again another stupid subscriptions aspect that will generate two 100s. Okay, plugin loaded successfully, so I'm assuming that's our second web shell in series. We again get the subscriptions, 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 subscriptions. Oh, come on. You're gonna access it, aren't you? and then they hit it. So they make a, yes, right here, right here. Um, packet 7,968. They access plugins V5HWJGS3, so much like the same one before. And then they're basically going through, they're issuing the command touch file.txt, so that will actually make that file. I mean, that, no, they want to know the text inside. And then they're doing ls, so they're verifying that the file came back. So we got that there. Further ls command comes back. Okay, come on. Next particular aspect. What do you do? Okay, you're doing lsla. You're getting the data back. There's the file. So they're getting the additional information. So far we're on the right track. Subscriptions. Oh, echo. You are hacked, bud. And then we're outputting that to file.txt. And so they just want the you are hacked, bud. So BUDD and exclamation point. Yes, apparently. Okay, so take this off, and so yes, we just gained the badge, but we got it there. So a lot more with the PCAP than what I was expecting. I was expecting having to dig through all those CSV and JSON files. I mean, yes, we did in the beginning in order to find the client ID and some of the other information, but then it came down to basically just hunting around inside of the network capture, which still not a bad approach at all. Very interesting, especially with this particular asset where we see that network miner was not as much of a help as what we would think. I mean, granted, yes. Okay, for the sessions, it did kind of help narrow the stuff down and get us to the fact that, yeah, there's a lot of communication that was focused for port 8111. But theoretically, we could also have gone through and done a filter inside of Wireshark to get that particular aspect as well. But no fuss, no muss. We got there at the end of the day. Medium, yeah, I suppose. I mean, even with limited, this is still over an hour, just for the sheer amount of hunting I had to do. But yeah, I suppose medium's fair. But so there we go. That has been the Velociraptor challenge on the Let's Defend platform. And since it's free, I would highly suggest you go through and take a whack at it. And if you're looking for something to sit there and make triage images, everything else like that, Velociraptor's another one of those nice tools to have in your repertoire to go through and get used to. The other aspect is I believe if you've actually got the agents running, you can query everything actively. So basically stand up like, I think a server, and then you'll be able to sit there and kick the stuff over. Or am I thinking Wooza? I don't know. My biggest portion for it is usually offline system information triage. So much like how it was used here, although not so much for PCAP collection. But so there we go. A little bit late to get on the board. Oh, but Dirk took number 6. That's always a good sign. So there we go. I will get the links to the Splunk article. I'll take a look and see if anything else stands out. And then the like VT, and really that was about it, wasn't it? Yeah, realistically through there. All that in the video description. And we'll pump this out, and I believe at the current release schedule, I think this should be coming out June 7th, I think. But, so hopefully, this will be helpful to somebody that needs to go through and actually get stuff done. Maybe ran into a roadblock. But, okay, enough waffling. With all that being said, I will see everybody in the next video.